baby. Yeah.
And here we go. Howdy, 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 and welcome to the Snort Cast. My name is Nguyen. I'm your host and the creator of the show, the Snort Cast. What is the Snort Cast? The Snort Cast is a live interview show talking to comedians and funny people all around the world about how and why they're going to comedy and how you can apply comedy to your presentation or into your storytelling. But before we bring on our guest, I do want to know, where are you watching this show from? It's very important that I know where this community is snorting from. So if you're watching from your city, put your city in. And if you are watching on replay or live, hashtag live and replay. And always follow us if you can on our social medias. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at the SnortCast or hashtag the SnortCast. And this week we hit 500 followers on Facebook. Yay! It's been so wonderful to see the community grow on all platforms, and I'm just so grateful for people who turn up and say hi and be part of this Snort Fest with my community and with my colleagues and friends who share their joy and light every single day in their work form. So I'm very, very grateful. And if you would like to be a supporter of The Joyful, you can be a Patreon supporter where you can donate per month and support me. I'm very thankful for my community for saying yes, for allowing me to keep doing what I love every single week. We go live every single week for you guys. And please tell us where you're watching this show from. Tell me where you're snorting from. Put a nose emoji. Tell me your city and if you're watching this live or on replay. So without further ado, I want to invite our guest. Her name is Emilie Bloom. I know her quite intimately. Before COVID hit, we went on a little tour for work, and she's just a beautiful human being who shines in her work. And she's really morphed her career, and that's something I really want to talk to you about. People in the arts, is that we're not just good at one thing. We hold so many tools in our bag to be good at everything. And a little bit about Emilie. She's a comedic actor and physical comedy performer, specialising in clown, and she has a diploma in creative industries and theatre arts, and trained at Philippe Gaulier, I think I said his name right, in Paris, France. Went to school for 2 years in Paris. And I really want to investigate with her why she decided to go across the world and study a form which is, clowning and physical theatre. She's also moved into another form of the arts, which is costume design. I hope I'm saying it correctly. She is a fabulous. She always makes these beautiful costumes that she wears, and it's an art form of itself, from a side of the performer, but to also the body, making the body come alive. So before I bring her on, I do want to show you a bit of her work, and I will pop that on here, and we'll see her very soon. Let's check this out. Okay, let's bring on Emilie. Hi.
Hi.
it was so weird watching that. That's quite old. But then I was like, hang on a minute. Those guys are behind me. This is sort of weird.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. This is like a night out for me. Absolutely. I mean, it is, right?
It is. You didn't know that Melbourne, we're still in this temporary lockdown that's been a bit longer than we are, but you're in region Victoria, which means that you're on a different stage than we are.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not allowed to really talk about all the good times I'm having, am I?
No. Emilie, can you tell us who you are in 4 sentences?
Oh my gosh. 4, that's a lot. Who am I? Well, I am a physical theatre performer. I am a mother. I'm a maker. And I am very good at making a cup of tea. Just made one.
Very good. Cheers.
I don't know. They were sentences, weren't they?
I love it. And if you had to write a memoir, what would be the title of your memoir?
Wow.
Going straight for it.
No, yeah. I mean, it would have to be something that wasn't necessarily about me if someone was going to buy the book, like I feel like it would have to be something to do with aliens or like Emilie Bloom meets the first Australian aliens, because no one's going to buy it if I haven't got some scandal attached to it. So maybe, yeah, Emilie Bloom, day in the life with an extraterrestrial. But that makes it sound like I'm the extraterrestrial. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, you're the next ET. That's what you're trying to say.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on LinkedIn and Facebook. If you're watching, thank you for tell us that you're watching the show. We've got Singapore. Hi, Joseph. Thanks for joining the show. We've got Melbourne, Karen. We've got Claire from Northcote. Thanks for joining, Claire. We've got Sydney. We've got Melbourne. Thanks for joining. We've got Amsterdam. Is I saying it right? Amsterdam.
Netherlands. The Netherlands.
We've got Amanda Jane from Regional Victoria. She knows how you feel. Perth. We've got Italy. Thanks for joining, guys. Pakistan, India. Thanks for joining the show, because Emily's going to share us some knowledge bombs, right?
Knowledge bombs.
Well,
that wasn't in the brief. Knowledge bombs.
Well, I guess the reason why I love your work so much is that, and as artists, we apply, and I call it a superpower, like comedy. It's a superpower to be able to make people laugh. What was your first memory of comedy in your life?
You mean doing comedy? Because it was with anything.
Like when comedy come into your life and you go, oh, this feels good?
It was probably, it was either watching some kind of cute cartoon or, I used to, when I was really young, I must have been like 4 or 5, somehow my family convinced me to perform live at our local church. And I had these puppets, and I don't know, I got all these gigs at the church performing with these puppets, and people were laughing. And I remember thinking, I don't know what's so funny. Like, and I guess it's sort of like, that's what it's like now. It's like, performing and then having people laugh. And obviously they thought it was really cute, and it probably was. So performing with these puppets, and we had to bring in our own record player. It was a whole like setup in the 80s. I feel like that was my first experience of what like making people laugh was like, but it was probably definitely from watching the Smurfs or something, or not that they were particularly that funny, but yeah.
And so if you talk about now, who inspires your comedy or your work now? Like, who gets you out of your, like, who gets you to go, I really like that, I'm going to try and apply it?
I mean, I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? Because, you know, I watch a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of comedy, and
Mm.
then, you know, I also see a lot of live theater as well. And I mean, they're really different. I definitely feel like I love, you know, like Amy Poehler from like Parks and Rec. Like, I love all those shows, you know, and you know, all of the old like Magda and like the fast forward. I mean, now I'm really sounding old, but you know, like fast forward or the D generation, like all of that sort of, you know, hilarious old classic humor. But
Yes.
you know, I'm inspired by lots of live theater as well. Like love, you know, Betty Grumble, amazing shows, you know,
Mm.
and this sort of mash of like comedy and like theatrics and aesthetic, you know, that sort of gets me going for sure.
Yeah. I love it.
Just,
And if you are watching the show, I would love to find out from our snorters what has made you laugh this week. And what has made you laugh this week?
I'm not going to say my husband because if he's watching, he'll just think that that's really good. Well, what's made me yeah. Well, what's made me laugh this week? As in like shows or like just life?
Yeah, just had a big laugh for no reason. It might have been your husband, and you don't want to admit it.
I don't want to credit that guy. I'd probably say, you know, like working with like, so I also work as a clown doctor and like often, you know, just before so we're doing a lot of kind of live Zoom sessions at the moment. And so there's a lot of fun, like before I mean, there's a lot of fun when we actually work as well, but like, you know, just banter and, you know, I work with some amazing people and very funny people. And so we're always having a giggle. So yeah, it was
Well, we're
probably a joke.
we'll talk
Hey,
more about the clowning, because Tony Warner's in the house.
hey,
um,
Chris.
and we just want to acknowledge other people have just come into the show. Karen's said, "Oh no, you can go to restaurants," and we've got Cincinnati watching. Brian is a fan. Thanks for joining, Brian, all the time, every Monday and Thursday. We've got Jakarta watching the show. Thanks for joining, peeps. Loving your support for the show. So, I guess I wanted to ask you was like, what made you go to Paris to go to clown school? Is it clown school or is it more physical theatre school?
I mean, it's a whole theater school, like, and then you do different sort of, I guess, units. You know, I was really excited about going over to be, you know, a dramatic actor. You know, I mean, I was really excited about the clown and the bouffon, absolutely. But it's just funny, isn't it? Because I thought, oh, you know, I'm not that funny. I'm not going to pursue comedy. I really want to be this kind of serious actor, and that mean that never happened. I've tried, but once I got over there and, you know, you get a bit of a taste for it. And I mean, there's such the parameters that he sets are very challenging and, you know, yeah, so it was absolutely kind of pivotal kind of training and then sort of kicked me off into a whole direction.
What was the motivation to go over there? Like, was there not any schools in Australia that it could have facilitated that, or was it an urge to go overseas as well?
Well, I was definitely excited about clown and bouffon, and I was at uni at the time and had some amazing trainers. Claire Bartholomew was one of them. Glennis Angel was another, and, you know, doing bouffon and clown and then kind of getting excited about those forms. And then another trainer, Rinsky, said, well, if you really want to study clown and bouffon, you have to go overseas. You have to go to Philippe Gaulier, and the school is amazing. It's like international. So there's people from all over the world that come, and, you know, it's pretty phenomenal. And, you know, I went over for like 4 weeks and ended up staying, for the year, and then went again the next year. So I got quite hooked. Yeah.
And what got you hooked? What was the cream of brulee? Is that the right word? What was a cherry that got you to?
The creme brulee of Gaulier.
What was the cherry? What got you hooked?
Just a cherry and like a hook, and then met my. What got me hooked? I mean, Paris is amazing. Like, that's a big hook and cherry, but it was probably the people also amazing, and there's something so authentic, I guess, about the world that he sort of sets up for the training, and I just really connected with it. I mean, it's not everyone's creme brulee, but it was my creme brulee. I can't even say brulee. I just really, I don't know. It just it was a really quite an amazing chapter, and the people were great, and I think you kind of just want to keep challenging yourself. And he sort of teaches this amazing traditional way. There's other trainers. It's like and also because there's so much fail as well, so you kind of want to keep picking yourself up. Well, I did, and keep trying to find what it is, that. Yeah,
because that's something people don't realize, that the clown fails a lot to be a clown.
It basically fails. I feel that's the point. It's like, for me, the clown is so beautiful at failing and so vulnerable with its fails, and then finds so much pleasure in that people can connect and find that, it's a way in. I think, the clown fails beautifully. But it doesn't feel like that when you're at the school and everyone's just looking down, and you're there feeling this flop, and it's like horrible. It's a nightmare.
So I guess like for the audience watching, the idea that you fail is something that they are so like that's not what they want to do. It's all about success. Like, life's about success and achieving and getting your goals and blah blah blah. But so you mentioned about the clown and about the connection and able to connect with an audience or person. When you left Gaulier, you said that it kind of opened your world to other clowning work. Would that be right? Or what did you end up doing with the clown, and what have you been doing with the clown?
Well, I mean, I think clowns definitely want to be successful. I think that there's definitely the desire to want to be a successful clown if you are one, or find a way to be in the world and do what you love, if it's clowning or comedy. I mean, I didn't go into Gaulier thinking I was going to come out being kind of so nerdy and passionate about that form. Like, it was really kind of amazing. And, the day that people were laughing, I was like, what is everyone laughing about? I have absolutely no idea what is funny. And then that was like, in itself, it was like this new thing. I was like, oh, I've got to keep finding what that is. And so when I left, it took a while and a lot of time in front of audiences. And I mean, one of the things that is a big takeaway from that training with Philippe Gaulier is that when the audience laughs, he says, oh, write it down in your head. So, start noticing and having an awareness when you're on stage, when they're laughing and what they're laughing at, because it might be different every time, or it might be the same thing every time. So it wasn't until I started performing in front of audiences regularly that I was like, oh, if I do that, then it's good. And oh, that's funny when they do that. Oh, it's not working tonight. Oh, it must be their fault. It's them, not me. No, but or it might I might not have been in the right place. I might not have had so much pleasure. But so I don't even remember the question now. I think it was something along the lines of.
Well, what have you been doing with the clown recently? Like, what works have you been doing?
You mean with my clowning? I've been doing a lot of stuff online now because it's, we've been in this place since March. So it's been interesting to see how it translates online. Obviously, it's different, right? So, and it's not everyone's creme brulee. But it's sort of, for people that aren't as clown nerdy as maybe myself and all of my friends, we're not just always wearing red noses. Like, it can be as characters, and we had some fun, me and my husband, I have to mention him, doing responding to the pandemic, and we bought all these chickens and decided to do like a kind of a diary, clown-esque, diary of the journey of us having these chickens. And it started off, and I looked at it back, I was like, maybe we'll do another one, which we are actually doing another one. Yep. That's a plug for my next
your next gig, your next job. Thanks for joining, everyone. And if you want to ask Emilie a question, we will be doing questions at the end of the show. And I want to talk about, your other work you do. You do costume design. You can see from Emilie right now that she wears, like, I wear pom-poms.
I just put these on because I thought you were wearing your pom-poms.
Yeah, I do. I didn't know. There you go. But you're doing costume design. Is that the right term that you would say?
Yeah, I'm doing it's taken quite a while to finish because of COVID, but I am doing a diploma in costume, which is great because it's mainly because I got into it because I love aesthetics and I love costume. I love making props and puppets, but I just needed that extra construction skill. And yeah, now I look at those clown heads and I'm just like, oh, I'm mortified by them. You can see them up there. But so that's really fun. And I've been getting, getting some work making costumes for other people. And so, yeah, that's a lot of fun. I'm in my studio at the moment. I thought maybe that was a good place to be for this.
Oh, yeah, it looks great. And you make puppets. You make big, full-size human puppets.
Well, I can't take all the credit for my puppets, but this one it's hard to work out. This one behind me, I'm made in collaboration with a couple of other amazing artists. And yeah, I'm definitely now dabbling in making puppets, and I've worked, made some beautiful puppets with a project for the snuff puppets. That's amazing. And but my costume, my clown characters definitely kind of morph with large scale props and costumes. It's sort of part of the world, I guess. As you can see from that weird footage from before.
Oh yeah, I've just realized that they're the same ones behind your back right now. How funny is that?
I know. They're very old, actually. They haven't had much of a life. Like, I was thinking about them when you showed that footage, because that was like, it's so slow, that opening, and it just, this gig, I'm going off track now, but I was just thinking about it today, and it's funny that we played the footage because I performed that at this music festival, and it was like a 2 a.m. slot. I won't name the music festival, but, here I came out with my like slow clowning routine, and it was like I had this like strobe light strapped to my stomach because there was no lighting really. There's like a very low, the venue was, and we had a friend up in the back who every night she'd have to put a bowl over the spotlight at the right time because they couldn't turn the light out without turning all of the lights out. So it was very like DIY. But the first night it was like the audience comes in and they're just it's like 100 very intoxicated 20-year-olds, and it was like they were a pack of wolves just yelling and screaming at the top of and it was just like pitch black. I couldn't see anything, and it's sort of like this metaphor, it felt like, for comedy in general. It's like you go out into the wild and you could be actually eaten alive, and you put yourself out there and you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I survived to tell the tale, but it was a very long 3.5 minute routine.
Wow. And, you just touched onto darkness, because my next question for you is, how have you found lightness during the dark, which is this, pandemic that we've experienced? Like, you talked about buying chickens, creating a new chicken family. How have you dealt as an artist during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think doing little things like that, taking something that's, is quite serious. Probably people are like, I need to make a garden. I need to get some chickens. I mean, that's what it was like in regional Victoria anyway, for us. And, being able to sort of, I guess, ease the tension by being a bit being creative and go, okay, now we're just going to go on YouTube or go on Instagram and we're going to do this little story and involve the entire family, and then put the pressure on ourselves to continue it ongoing. But I mean, that was just something fun to do. I think it's also been a pretty amazing time to sort of sit back and go, well, what am I doing and what's important? And because artists, we can be really busy, we have to be really busy because we need to sustain ourselves and have multiple revenues of income, which is why we wear so many hats. And it's super. It's been a very cool reflecting time as well. But what happens now?
Yeah, we're waiting for the borders to open. That's what we're waiting.
I know, Melbourne.
Because I mentioned earlier in the show, but you and I went on a work trip just like in that month that COVID hit, and it's kind of crazy that we're in this place right now. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you, because we saw each other in June, I think. But it'd be really great to see you and give you a big hug.
Yeah, I know. We were like, the toilet paper stuff was happening when you and I were like on tour, and I know. And this is so great that you're doing this, Diana. I think it's amazing that that this is happening. And thank you so much for getting me, in a blazer at 9 o'clock on a Monday night.
With a cup of tea.
See,
before we go to the questions for Emilie, our audience are mostly from LinkedIn and, on Facebook now as well. But the reason why I created this show was to help people who wanted to use comedy, because comedy is something it's really hard to apply if you don't know how to. So I would like, how do you apply comedy to your work? And before you mentioned what you learned at school was that when you heard a laugh, write it down. What would be another tip for someone who wants to apply comedy to their work?
I think, it depends, I guess, on what they're doing. But I think there's no harm in repeating something, repeating. If you find that something's working, keep doing it. When I say write it down, it's like, because, maybe I did one act. I don't do it too much anymore, but I did one act for almost 10 years. And, I was still finding new subtleties along the way, like every time I performed it. And and to keep just going there and keep being, I guess, ready to fail, because, when we feels like, when we flop or we fail, it cracks something open inside us. It's sort of really humbling. And I think that in that place is magic. And anyway, I'm no expert, but I definitely, I think, keep exploring. Does that make, you're going to do that. I'm not sure if that's a tip, but.
Well, I think that's a tip. That's a great tip, because a lot of people in corporates or people in small businesses are afraid of failing because they've been told this is how you do it. But as artists, we've been told the more you fail, the more you'll find your character or the thing that will make people laugh. So it's so jarring for people to hear that is just to fail.
Yeah, and I think too, like, sometimes we don't know what's funny about us, and like, that was always really interesting at the school in Paris is, we'd be laughing at someone and they'd have no idea what it was. And there's something so beautiful about that as well, Yeah.
Love it. No, thank you. And we'll go to the Q&A, and we've got Joseph saying, looking forward to the knowledge bombs from Emilie. So thank you.
Yeah. That's what I've been making down here. You can't see my hands, but I'm molding some knowledge bombs. They're going to go off.
Amanda Jane has asked, have you considered writing children's books? Sorry if you already have.
No, and it's funny that you say that because I actually have, and I've been talking with my daughter about, her writing and me illustrating, but, I don't know when that's going to happen, but yeah, that's something that I often think about. Thanks, Amanda. That's a nice thing to say.
That's beautiful. I didn't know that you and your daughter had been talking. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's one cool thing too about, I guess, being in lockdown with a 7-year-old. You've got this little chat. We've had this little chat to be quite creative together, and that's been a super blessing actually.
Beautiful. Tony Warner's written, I think Diane and Emily are the best.
That's so nice.
Karen saying, hearing Donald Trump via my girlfriend is now immune from COVID, the Omega man, and now we can use him as a vaccine. I'm not sure.
That's a cool update.
Tony's also asked, Diane, have you ever considered auditioning for the clown doctors? I'll think about it. And Brian from Cincinnati, he's asked, is clowning improv or scripted?
Well, it's both, really. I mean, I guess it also depends on how people like working. But if you were going to do a clown show, it's it's scripted. You know exactly. It's meticulous. So much of it is extremely meticulous. The way you create a clown show, often people use improvisation, and then it'll be scripted. And it's like any other theatre production. Or show, meticulously scripted down to the details.
Yeah. Karen's also asked, did you make those earrings?
No, I didn't. I'll do a little plug for Fruit Stoop, who's this amazing Melbourne-based designer. They're on Instagram, Fruit, F-R-O-O-T, Stoop. They make amazing stuff. I've lost Diana. Hello, Diana? Am I the host now? Might be a good time to pull out those knowledge bombs. Maybe this is a test of my improvisation skills. Wonder if I'll message her. What do I say? Bon voyage. Is that the end of the show, maybe? I'll have a look. Oh.
All right, we're back. Emma, you
Hi.
said
I kept the show going. You know, I was really like, I thought, is this a test? We had snacks.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
My I thought my battery was charging, but it was unplugged from the wall.
My God. Oh my gosh, I love this. Now I can just like totally relax now that that's happened.
Oh, it's so funny. But everyone was messaging, just saying, she'll be back, you'll be fine. Thanks for Claire was like, hang in there, Em.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, I'm coming back on. Karen Lee just wrote, Amanda Jane, we don't know the tick is still running, so let's hang on just a minute. I just love live TV. Just love live. Thanks for these people for joining on and hanging on. You're so amazing. Oh, the aliens have them.
Oh yeah, my memoir.
If that's never happened before, I'm so sorry.
Wow, I love that happens on the day that I was on. I was like, I thought that maybe you were really playing a joke on me.
Oh,
I'm so glad I had snacks.
oh wow. If you have a question for Em, I've lost the questions that you guys all asked. So if you have a question and I haven't said it, please let me know what it is. And while we wait for this question to load up, what is your new? I'm just so frantic right now because I was so frantic.
Okay, I held the fort, Diana. Don't you worry. I snorted. I did it all. Did the things.
Right, thank you. What? What is next, Em? What are you doing next?
Well, I've just started. I got a little bit of funding to write a show, just a dribble. So me and a clown friend, is that what you call them? A person I work with, we're going to write something that will get performed somewhere in the future. And I've been, and my husband and I are also sort of doing what he calls treatments, because, yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with, or you would be, with the show Catfish. We're big lovers of Catfish. And we recently had a situation, we got scammed by somebody pretending to sell puppies online. So we thought we might do a show called Dogfish and have people reach out to us if they've been, if they think that they're getting scammed, because, it's a thing. I didn't realize it's a big thing. And, lots of people buying puppies at the moment. So we've been writing some stuff for our show we want to put up on YouTube called Dogfish. So stay tuned for Dogfish.
I love it. It's already catchy already.
Yeah.
We've got people saying it's funny. The
Good.
live broadcast. Brian wants his money back. I'm sorry, Brian.
He doesn't like Dogfish.
No, I think it was mentioning more when the internet dropped and we lost the show. My professionalism went out the door. We'll end with Karen's question because I think it's quite beautiful. Emily, is your daughter interested in becoming a clown?
You know what? It would be nice if she was, but she recently confessed to me that she, when she closes her eyes, she sees scary clowns.
Oh.
So that's probably my fault because, there's a lot. Oh, I mean, I imagine it is my fault. But, I mean, she loves the work that I do at the hospitals and, but, a lot of my clown characters are sort of dance on the darker side and, drying painted eyeballs around the house, or, you know, she's just like, you know, Mum, can't you just be a fairy? Or she's really excited about animals and, you know, wildlife, and I think she'll probably go down that road. And but, you know, you don't know, maybe I can, you know, who knows?
Who knows? Look, there are different clowns in the world, and, you know, there's the Hollywood one where everyone knows about, but there is beautiful artistry to the other clown as well, and that's what you do, paint eyeballs around the house. And you didn't talk about the Donnies.
Oh, yeah, the Donnies, the two Donnies. So, yeah, look out for the two Donnies from Donnybrook. I think they're from Donnybrook now. And yeah, they'll definitely be making some traction on YouTube, hopefully in, you know, I don't know, at a theatre near you.
Oh, awesome.
Hopefully, especially in Italy. That'd be nice.
Oh, it would be
nice.
Em, thanks so much for joining the show.
It's been awesome, especially that bit where you left me to host, me and all the new friends, Karen and Brian and Amanda. And
yeah, so thank you for hanging out and yeah, holding the fort while I disappeared. I was freaking out, and here I am, sane as possible.
You're amazing, Diana. We missed you.
Yes, that's what came up on the screen. It's like, where is she? But thank you so much for coming on here to talk about your work and why you do your work. And we will see everyone new time this week on Friday morning, Australian time at 10 a.m. We're interviewing Ian Edwards from LA. So we're going across the world this week. It's very, very exciting. Emilie, thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks for having. Stay safe, everybody.
And we will see you all this Friday, Australian time in the morning. And we'll see you all soon. See you guys.